Hi, welcome back to our online retreat, the Wheel of Life retreat.
大家好，欢迎回到生命之轮线上进修营。
And I'd like to welcome Xiaoping,
我想欢迎小平，
Zhou Xiaoping, and thank her for translating today.
谢谢周小平今天为我翻译。
So we're on session 8.
我们现在在第8堂课，
The name of this session is What It's Like to Live in the Bardo.
这一堂课的主题呢是住在中阴身的时候是什么样的状况。
And the picture we're using for this class
我们为这堂课选的图片呢
is a burnt black tree trunk.
就是一个烧焦的树干、树桩。
And we'll explain more about that later.
我们稍后会更加详细的来解释。
So I think at first most of us know the word Pardo.
首先我们大多数人都知道中阴身这个词。
Par means in between.
Par 意思就是在什么中间，
And Pardo means the state in between.
Pardo 的意思就是在中间的这个状态，
It means the state between after you die and until you are reborn.
意思就是在你死后以及再次受生之前这个阶段。
So we're continuing with this idea of how lousy is life, okay?
然后我们会接着讲生活到底有多嘈杂，
And we have trouble all
有
through
多
our
糟
life.
糕，糟糕。
We have trouble all through our life.
然后呢，我们一生当中一直有各种各样的麻烦。
And then also again in the Pardo, we have the same trouble.
一样的，在中阴身的时候呢，我们也有同样的问题。
So let's talk about what it's like to be in the Bardo.
所以我们来谈一谈在中阴的时候是什么样的状况。
And I'm going to read from the Tibetan. I hope you will follow the Tibetan.
我会念藏文，我希望大家可以跟着。
I know not all of you want to learn Tibetan,
我知道不是你们所有人都想学藏文，
but I'm trying to put a seed in your mind
但我试着想在你们的意识里种下种子，
to read these very holy books,
能够去阅读这些非常殊胜的经典，
to read the original.
然后读原文，
It puts a very deep seed in your mind.
这会在你的意识里种下非常强大的种子。
And we will meet again in the next life
下辈子我们会再次相遇，
to study translation together.
一起学习翻译。
So I'm planting those seeds.
所以我现在正在种下这些种子。
Now the second part of this discussion.
现在这个讨论的第二个部分呢，
How is it that we go into the Bardo?
就是我们是如何进入到中阴的，
And what happens in the Bardo?
在中阴的阶段里发生什么事情。
Chisi Gakpa.
Chisi Gapa，
Chisi is a special expression.
Chisi 就是一种特别的解释，
There are 4 kinds of sipas,
有4种 Sipa，
and Chisi is one of them.
Chisi 是其中一种。
In this case, Si means kind of being.
然后在这个例子当中，Chi 的意思是像有种生命，
And Chisi means the person or the being at the time of their death.
然后 Chisi 的意思就是在死亡的时候的那个生命。
So, Chisi Gakpa, Gakpa means ending.
Gapa 的意思就是结束。
So, Chisi Gakpa means, the person is dying on their hospital bed.
Chisi Gapa 意思就是这个人躺在他们的医院的临终的病床上，
The person is dying, and then tu nyamdu
那个人在即将死亡。然后 Tuyamdu 的意思是
means at the same moment.
同一时刻。
Sangde Tomen Shindu means in the old days when they weigh food, for example, they will use a scale with 2 plates.
意思就是在古时候，他们来称量食物的重量时，会用一种秤，
And, as this plate comes down,
就是这一盘往下沉的时候，
this plate goes up.
这一盘就会往上升。
So they say the appearance
他们说这个外表
that you have
就是你的外表，
at the time of death,
在你死亡的时候，
your outer appearance,
你外在的形象
it starts to fade.
它就开始消减。
And at the same time, another appearance starts to come in.
与此同时，另外一个形象开始进来了。
And you take the appearance of the person in the Bardo.
然后你就呈现出在中阴时候的那个形象。
So your face, your body start to change.
所以你的脸、你的身体开始改变。
The face and body you had when you were dying
就是在你临终时的那个正在消减的那个身体，
is replaced by the face and the body that you're going to have in the body.
然后就会被你在中阴身时的身体和脸所取代。
And that bardo person's appearance,
那个在中阴身里的那个人的形象，
here it says, Munduki sipe sukchente, it matches the appearance of the person before.
他跟这个人之前的样子是相匹配的。
And this is a very confusing idea.
这个想法就让人很混乱，
And many people misunderstood it.
很多人就误解了他的意思了。
Oh, when I die
哦，原来我死后，
and I go to the bardo,
然后进入中阴，
my appearance will be the appearance of the person before.
我的样子就会变成上一个人的样子。
But it means the appearance of the person before your next death.
意思 before your next death，
Yeah.
意思是在你下一个死亡之前的那个人的样子。
So that means the appearance you're going to have in your next life.
所以他的意思是说，他是你下一辈子的样子。
So the appearance that you take on in the bardo,
所以在你在中阴身时候的外貌，
it's related to who you are going to be after you come out of the bardo.
它是跟你从中阴身状态出来之后要成为谁是有关联的。
So here it says, "Kewachime luki chiyip chendu drup." You take on a body of that is related to the body you're going to have when you come out of.
所以你会呈现出当你从中阴状态出来之后即将变成的那个人的身体。
Munduki sipa shepeten. And here he clarifies. He says, by the way, when the scripture says the being of the time before,
然后这里就有澄清，顺便提一下，经典说的就是之前的那个人，
it means the being you're going to be for a whole lifetime before you die in the next lifetime.
所以它指的是就是在你下一辈子死之前要成为的那个人的那一辈子的样子。
Kachi ki shimbote sembe kapki number dang chejek jinda yopashin. So some people say
所以有些人说，
the dead person
亡者
looks like how they in the bardo they looked like the person they used to be.
看上去像是他们以前的那个人的样子。
Then parola de dupe and they sit in the bardo
然后他们坐在中阴里，
and you can send them messages and they will reply, with even written messages to you.
你可以给他们发送消息信息，他们甚至会用书写的方式给你回信。
And in America, we have some,
在美国我们有一些算命师，
and you go to them, you say, I want to talk to my father who died,
然后你找他们，然后跟他说我想跟我过世的父亲交流。
Then they kind of have trick way to write letters and they say, oh, look, he wrote you a letter.
然后他们有一种欺诈性的狡猾的方式写信，然后给你说，哎呀，你看他给你写信了。
Sokjun Yin here says they're all fake.
然后这里讲的是其实是假的，
So he says, be careful of these like fortune tellers.
所以这里就说大家小心那些算命的人，
Some of them just making money.
有些人只是出于赚钱的目的，
They are making fake letters from your relatives who died.
所以他们就假装是你过世的家属亲人，然后给你写信。
But you can see a bardo being and you can talk to them. It's possible.
但你其实是可能是可以跟中阴身里的人交流。
Dinda Reni Tongwa Sikyang says it's possible you could see your relative in the bardo. It is possible.
这里说到是可能你可以见到你在中阴身状态里的亲戚的，
And it's also possible that someone who looks like your relative in the bardo is not really your relative in the bardo.
但也有可能就是在中阴状态里看上去是你亲戚的人，其实不是你的亲戚。
Mi mayin ki shimbu suk sungne Jikten Pelpa Luarche. This is a kind of spirit being.
这里是一种
It's kind of ghost.
鬼魂，
And they like to take the appearance of your relative.
他们想要呈现成是你亲戚的样子，
And they trick you.
他们就骗你。
J Mila means Milarepa.
这里 Mira 指的是米尔日巴，
A very, very famous meditator from about 1,000 years ago.
是1000多年前非常著名的冥想者。
And there's a story in his 100,000 songs,
在他的100首道歌里有一个故事，
which is in Tibetan is Gorbum, which means 100,000 songs.
就在藏语当中叫 Gubum， 意思就是100首道歌。
Then there's a story there about how he met someone's father from the Bardo.
所以里面有个故事讲到他在中阴身里的状态遇到了一个人的父亲，
And he guided that person.
然后在那个状态当中引导那个人。
And apparently there was also some ghost in the story who was imitating that person.
然后就有故事讲到，就是有一些鬼魂假装是那个人。
And I'd be interested if any of you guys listening, you could read those 100,000 songs of Milarepa.
如果感兴趣，大家可以去读那100首道歌。
It was translated into English a long, long time ago by somebody named Garma Sisi Chung.
很久以前有个人叫 Gama Sisi Chang， 他把这些翻译成了英文。
The name he translated 100,000 is a mistake. Yeah, he made a mistranslation
他翻译错了，翻译成10万首，
in the title.
就是标题翻译成10万。
So, for example, Sung Boom doesn't mean 100,000 books.
孙布意思不是说10万本书，
It just means a collection of books.
意思是说书的一个集合而已。
But generally, the translation I think is not so bad, and maybe some of you guys can find this story.
但整体而言，那个翻译翻的还可以，所以也许在座有些人是可以从中找到这个故事的。
It's not 100,000 stories, but it's a lot, and I don't have time to read the whole thing, but you guys can read it.
它不是说是10万首个故事，但是仍然有很多。我没有时间，但大家有时间可以读一读。
Tena partoa ni wambokun sama. So a pardo being really does have eyes, ears, nose, everything complete.
所以处于中医生的人，他实际上也有眼睛、耳朵、鼻子等等，都是齐全的。
Nguishe yopa means abhisnya. They have the ability to, they have special mental abilities.
就说他们有一种特别的意识的能力，
For example, they can understand all languages.
比方说他们读得懂所有的语言，
And they have zutru. Zutru means they can do miracles.
他们还可以有神通，
For example, they can walk through walls.
比方说他们可以穿墙而过，
They can travel millions of miles in an hour.
他们可以在1小时里穿行过数百万英里。
And Buddhism says that's how new planets are populated, actually.
Oh.
That's how people came to this world.
经典里也有讲到，就是其实人们就是这样来到这个世界上的。
So worlds are countless, beginningless, and, people move from one to another one a million miles away and they populate it.
所以实际上是有数不胜数的无数的，从无始以来就有这么多的星球，所以人们就从一个世界，然后呢去到另外一个世界，然后在那里居住。
Then that ability to walk through walls
那个穿墙而过的能力
is very interesting. If the wall is part of a temple
是很有意思的。如果那堵墙呢是属于寺院的墙的话，
or a holy place like, Bodh Gaya,
或是一些圣地，比方说菩提迦耶，
when they hit that wall, they cannot go through it. Any wall in the world they can walk through except that one.
就除了这个圣地的墙，世界上其他墙他们都可以穿墙而过，但是圣地的墙他们穿不过。
So some wall that's connected to a holy place,
比如说是一些圣地相关的墙，
it will stop them.
就会挡住他们。
And the skin at the back of a woman's womb is the same.
然后呢，女士的子宫的皮肤也是一样的，
Kanglaan matokpa means they can't go through
就是他们穿不过，
and they get stuck there.
会被 堵在里面。
And that's where many of them are reborn.
这就是很多人就在这里重新受生。
Next, Pabongko Rinpoche describes the physical appearance of these beings.
然后下世帕彭卡仁波切就描述了这些他们的一些外貌。
So we said they take on the appearance that corresponds to their next.
所以他们就呈现出他们下一次受生时的那个人的样子。
That doesn't mean if they're going to be reborn as a very tall guy, that during the bardo they look like a very tall guy. That's not what it means.
当然这里意思不是说如果他下一世会变成一个很高大的人呢，他在中阴身的状态时也是很高大，不是这个意思。
It means what kind of rebirth they're going to take.
意思是说他们会受生为哪一种生命。
You can tell it from the appearance in the bardo.
你可以在他们在中阴状态时的外貌可以看得出来。
So he gives here some examples.
这里举了一些例子，
Nyawa, Yida, Tundo, Dupe, Hla, Mi. He gives 5 examples.
他举了5类例子。
Person in the hell realms.
地狱里的人，
Person who becomes a hungry ghost.
恶鬼道的人，
Person who's going to become an animal.
然后畜生道，
Person who's going to be a pleasure being in the desire realm.
就在欲界里的天道的人，
And a human.
还有人。
Okay, what do they look like in the bardo?
那他们在中阴状态时看上去什么样子？
Me rim shin means if we start one by one to tell you from the bottom, meaning from the hell realm.
就是我们从底，然后一一告诉大家，意思就是从地狱道开始。
Dong tum me tsikpa means people in the bardo who are going to be reborn into the hell realms, their body looks like the stump of a burnt tree.
就是那些处于下一世即将转生投生到地狱道但还在中阴身的生命，他们的样子看上去就像烧焦的树。
If you're going to be born as a hungry ghost,
如果你即将投生到恶鬼道，
your body looks like water.
你的身体看上去就像水一样的。
If you're going to be born as an animal,
如果你要投生到畜生道，
tua, your body looks like smoke.
你的身体看上去像烟一样的。
Depe hla mi, if you're going to be a pleasure being or a human in the desire realm,
比方说，你如果会成为欲界里的天道或人道的话，
ser sambu tabun doktar, you have a body that looks like very fine gold.
你的身体呢就会看上去像很好的金子一般。
Sukambe pardo karpo yula, if you're going to be born into the form realm, maybe you did those 4 meditations, right?
也许你即将你做了那4类冥想，然后你即将投生到色界，
Your body will be like shining white color
你的身体就会是闪闪发光的白色。
in the bardo.
在中阴身的时候，
Sukme do kewana pardon me. But if you're going to be born into the formless realm,
如果你即将投生到无色界的话，
there is no pardo
那就没有中阴的状态了，
because you're not going to have a body.
因为你不会有身体。
So it's interesting if I die here, sitting here,
很有意思，如果我坐在这里死掉的话，
and I will go immediately into my mental body,
我立刻就会去到我意识的身体，
right here.
就在这里。
Okay, and that's where the formless realm is.
这就是无色界。
Wherever I die.
无色界所在地，就是我死的地方在哪里，那就是无色界。
But otherwise,
否则的话，
kind of the purpose of the bardo
中阴身的其中一个目标呢，
is to travel from the place you die to the place you're going to be born.
就是从你死亡的地方去到你即将投生的地方，
It could be 1 meter.
可以是1米，
It could be millions of miles.
可以是数百万英里，
And it takes the same time.
而且所需花费的时间是一样的。
Okay, the next paragraph says, Migewa chepe parsini.
下一段话呢，
Parsi means, again, si means the person. Par means in the bardo. So parsi means the person in the bardo.
所以 pasimi 意思就是属于中阴身状态的生命。
If generally speaking, they were not a very nice person their whole life.
如果整体
Before.
来讲，如果他们上一世整体来讲不是很好的人的话，
Semo munaktu namatabu. They look like kind of darkness,
他们看上去就像有种黑暗一样的，
and that's their appearance. They look like dark, black,
他们看上去是黑色的，是比较黑暗的，
like night.
就像夜晚一样。
Gewa chepe parsini, but the bardo of a person who was a good person their whole life.
但如果他上一世呢一辈子都是个好人的话，那在中阴状态，
Nambukarpo means they look like white silk.
他们看上去就像白色的丝绸一样的。
Dawa dan chepa tsemenawa. They look like the white moonlight at night.
他们看上去就像夜晚的白月光一样的。
Pardutsetse means, well, how long do these beings live for?
那这些生命可以存活多久呢？
Sungsu Mangyang, there's many different scriptures say different things.
不同的经典的描述不一样，
Most of those scriptures are incorrect.
大部分经典里写的是不对的。
There's one in particular called, they translate it as Tibetan Book of the Dead,
还有其中一本他们翻译成西藏度王经
Pardo Tangdo.
帕多昌主。
And in the tradition of Tsongkhapa, who is very strict about his authority sources,
就是在宗喀巴大师的传承当中，他对这些经典出处是非常严格的。
he says the original of that book
他说那本书的最原始的出处呢
is this word here. It's they call fake. It's fake. Okay.
他说是
Sokjun.
假的，
Yeah, it's just not correct.
他说内容是不对的。
So they would this tradition, Tsongkhapa's tradition, would say, that book is not correct about the Bardo.
然后呢，在宗喀巴大师的传承当中会说那本书关于中阴的描述是不对的。
Pelcher Shagdin to Shepa, but most of the great books,
但是大多数好的书，
Chime Tsoshak Yinda, it says that Bardo being always lives for 7 days,
他们说那个中阴身通常活7天，
cannot live for more than 7 days.
不可能活超过7天。
Then there's a funny debate. Pabonka says, I wonder which kind of day they're talking about.
然后呢，有一个辩论，宗喀巴帕蓬卡
Yeah,
帕蓬卡仁波切就说，我在想他们说的是什么样的日子？
because a day in the hells or a day for the pleasure beings can be 1,000 years,
因为可能
of
在
human years.
按人类的时间来算的话，地狱里的一天可能是天人的1000年。
And he says that Chimatsu Shak means 1 day and night, 24 hours. Yinda means my opinion.
他意思是在我看来，
It's 7 days of where you're going to.
就是你即将投生的那个地方的7天。
But he's not totally sure. Yinda means, but I'm not totally sure.
但意思是我也不是100%肯定。
But traditionally, in a Buddhist monastery, for example,
但传统来讲，在佛教的寺院里，
we count 7 days.
我们是算7天的。
And we start from the day that the person died.
我们从那个人死亡的当天开始算。
So if they died at 1 minute to midnight on Tuesday,
如果他们在周 1 minute to midnight，
1 minute before midnight on Tuesday night,
OK， 如果他们
they die
在
at 11:59 at night.
OK， 如果他们在周二的晚上的11点59分死亡的话，
Still, we count that as number 1 when we count 7 days.
就是当我们算日期的时候，那一天仍然会算是第一天。
And I had an opportunity on a long plane flight once. I talked to my own teacher,
我有一次有个机会，在一个长途旅行当中跟我的老师交流，
who again was a disciple of Pabonka Rinpoche and Pabonka Rinpoche's heart disciple, Trijang Rinpoche.
然后呢，我的老师他是帕蓬卡仁波切的学生，是帕蓬卡仁波切的学生的学生。
And I asked him many questions about these bardos.
我就问了他很多关于中音的问题，
And he gave me some great answers.
他就给了我很多很好的回答。
And I put all of those into a kind of a question and answer paper.
我就把所有那些问答呢整理成问答的形式，
And we're going to offer it on this broadcast.
在这一次直播当中，我们会分享给大家，
There'll be a link that you can click on.
就是有个链接，大家可以点进
And
去，
you can go to that explanation by my teacher.
你可以去看我的老师对此相关的解释。
Shakdune chi, then they will die after 7 days.
然后呢，7天之后他们就会死亡。
Then either they go to the life they're supposed to go to, or they come back to another bottle for 7 more days.
他们这时要么就投生，要么就是再次开始为17天的中阴身的状态，
Or less, right?
或是时间更短。
So let's say they're in the bottle for 10 days.
比方说他们在中阴状态待了10天，
After the first 7 days, they will die.
那头7天之后他们就死了，
They will come back to that bottle
然后又回来中阴，
for 3 more days.
又待了3天，
Then they die and become whatever they're supposed to become.
然后就投生到下一世里。
So he calls it, here he has a funny name. He calls it Chi Chung Re. He means mini death, mini death.
所以他这里取了一个很有意思的名字，叫迷你死亡。
They have bardo mini deaths
他们有中阴的迷你死亡，
every 7 days.
每7天一次。
And kene manyetse, and if they don't find the rebirth that they're supposed to have,
如果他们没有找到他们本来有的受生，
len dunki par deta chi chung re che sung. The great books say,
然后伟大的经典里说到，
and for example, the Abhidhammakosha, which is one of the greatest books of Buddhism.
比方说佛教里最好的经典之一《阿毗达摩》里面有提到，
And if you're really interested about the bardo,
如果你对中阴非常感兴趣的话
you，should read Stanley's translation of the Abhidharma.
大家应该去读Stanley 关于阿毗达摩的翻译，
And that's completely correct.
那个内容就是完全正确，
It's about almost 2,000 years ago.
大概有2000多年之久。
And that's a better source to read than the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which has many false views in it.
那在西藏度王经当中有很多错误的观点，所以最好是读阿毗达摩里的描述。
Len Dungi Par Detar Chi Chung Re Che Sung. Those great books say you will have maximum 7 mini deaths.
那些书里you mean that book？
Yeah, the Abhidharma.
阿毗达摩里有提到，就是你最多有7次的迷你死亡，
So you must take your rebirth within 49 days.
所以你必须在49天内再次投生，
Counting the day of the death as the first day.
把死亡的当天算作第一天。
That's why traditionally we do those Chang Chok prayers,
这就是传统我们念那些创彻的祈祷，
reminding Grandpa of all the good things he did.
就是去提醒爷爷他曾经做过的所有的好事。
Traditionally, we do those prayers on the 7th day after death, counting the death day as the first day.
通常来讲，我们是在比如说死亡当天算第一天的话，我们会在第7天来做，
And then again on the 49th day.
然后再次在第49天的时候，
Because within that time period,
因为在这个阶段里，
they must go on to their next life.
他们必须转生，
And the seed must be activated for that next life.
那个种子肯定要激活。
Sorry, not activated. It must open for the next life.
抱歉，不是激活，而说那个种子必须打开，让它去到下一世，
Yeah, it's activated as they die, right? From the past life.
就是上一世他们死的时候就已经打开了，
Their
就
last
激活了，
awareness of that life.
就他们对那一世的粗大的觉知，
And then it actually opens at the end of the bardo.
然后实际上是在中阴的时候打开，
And they are born into their next life.
然后呢转生到下一世。
Now, we didn't learn these things in school or in university. Princeton doesn't have a course on bardo.
我们在学校里，在大学并没有学这些内容，比方说普林斯顿没有教中阴，
But everyone has to die.
但每个人都会有一死，
Everyone goes through this bardo.
每个人都会有中阴的状态。
And it's important to study it,
所以学习是很重要的，
and it's important to learn it.
很重要要去学习。
There's a joke in the monastery.
在寺院里有个笑话，
If you know you're going on a, like I used to go there to debate in the Geshe course,
以前学格西课程的时候，我会去辩论。
and I remember on the day I was coming back to America, I would debate in the morning, and then I would run to the airport and come back. On the day I have to leave the monastery to come back to America,
哦，
I
当
will
时
still debate in the morning.
当时其实我应该要离开寺院返回美国，但是比如说我下午飞机，我早上仍然会去辩论。
And I remember the monks used to ask me, well, what, you know, you're going to leave today. Why are you debating in the morning?
然后那些出家我还记得，他们问我说：“你下午就要飞走了，为什么早上还来？
Just go get your suitcase ready.
你就去整理你的行李箱啊！
So we're all going to die.
我们都会死的，
It might be today.
也许可能是今天。
Get your suitcase ready.
所以你要打点好你的行装啊，
Study the Bardo.
要学习中音。
We don't know if we're going to enjoy the money or the family we have next week. We don't know if we will still be here.
就是我们不知道下周之后我们是否还会在这里，能否还能享受钱或我们的家人。
But sooner or later, we have to go to the Bardo.
但早我们都会进入中阴身，
So let's pack our suitcase.
所以我们现在就来打点行李，
Let's get ready for that.
我们为下一世做好准备。
Okay, see you in the next online session, which is number 9.
好，下一次课堂再见，就是第9堂课。
And thank you for translating.
谢谢你翻译。
Mm.